Nikki Kaye, thank you very much for joining us today.
Fantastic to be here, Jay.
Really appreciate your time. Oompher is all about inspiring people to achieve extraordinary things. So who and what during your life and career has inspired you?
My grandmother and my mum. Actually, I often say to people, some people look in the paper for heroes, but actually I'm really proud of my grandmother and my mum. They've always worked really hard, and they've been, great support throughout my career and my life.
Yeah, and obviously your career is literally only just getting started really. You're the youngest cabinet minister and female cabinet minister in history, which is an amazing achievement. And you obviously first got the role in Auckland Central 90 years as a traditionally left seat. So who in politics have been some of your great political mentors who have helped you along the way?
Well, Catherine Rich was someone that I admired from a pretty young age, but actually, both the Deputy Prime Minister Bill and the Prime Minister, I think they're very different, but they're quite inspiring in different ways. John's had a long career, but Bill got involved in politics young. But they both had courage and integrity. Yeah,
and it's, I guess, the same as you in the way that you got involved young as well. In 1998, obviously becoming was it Vice Chair of the Southern Region of the Young Nats?
Yep.
Yeah,
right.
Which is fantastic. So from a young age, obviously knew the sort of area you wanted to go down. What was it about the National Party that resonated with your values?
Well, look, I come from a political family, but I always knew that I wanted to make a difference, and I worked out that politics was a great place. In terms of the National Party, for me, I believe in equality of opportunity, not outcome. I think that's what separates me probably from a Labour MP, is I do believe in having a strong social conscience, but I don't really believe in redistribution for the sake of it.
Okay, and as a youngster you attended Corrin School in Auckland where you were head prefect, and then a Bachelor of Science in Genetics,
yep.
And then obviously Bachelor of Laws later in 2009, graduating. So then you headed overseas. So tell me more about that and your journey overseas.
Well, I went overseas to the OE, but worked in a variety of roles. So I sort of started off in social services, worked in welfare to work programs, ended up working for Transport for London, doing mobility projects across London, and then ended up at a bank. So it was really varied. But from my perspective, while I was earning really good money, I knew that didn't drive me. I really had worked out that I want to make a significant difference and that my heart was back at home, and so that's why I came to stand for Parliament.
Okay, and while you were overseas, as you say, you did a variety of different public and private sector sort of roles. So from your experience working in both areas, what are some of the, not advantages, but what are some of the downfalls of the public sector versus the private sector? What are some of the key differences you noticed?
I think I did find that sometimes decisions went faster in the private sector. But look, there's nothing more rewarding being a politician or being, I think, in the public service when you get to make significant change in terms of people's lives. So each have their strengths and weaknesses.
Okay. Do you get frustrated by the sometimes slowness of decisions and movement?
Well, I think now being a minister, I have much more ability to influence that, and that's one of the amazing things about being a cabinet minister is the buck stops with you, but also you get to speed up decisions and make those decisions. So.
And it's been a rewarding journey so far as a cabinet minister?
Absolutely. Look, there are always going to be those highs and lows because you can't help everybody, but I love it.
Okay, and it was January 2013 when you became a cabinet minister, obviously starting off with food safety and civil defence and youth affairs of associate immigration and education. So back after 2014, we've obviously had an election relatively recently, so you've kept all of those portfolios except, is it swapping food safety for ACC?
That's right, and not doing associate immigration anymore.
Okay.
But ACC is a massive portfolio.
Oh, absolutely, You're obviously doing a great job in the eyes of the powers to be. So I guess what is it about? from those portfolios so far, what one have you enjoyed the most and learned the most from and everything like that?
Well, I think I've really enjoyed associate education. So I've done a huge amount around technology in schools. I've signed off a $200 million project ensuring that schools get access to fast connections and uncapped data. I love education, but I also love civil defence. It is a role whereby if things go wrong, they go really wrong, and I was involved in the Wellington earthquakes and just making sure that the coordination effort is happening, but also that we can warn New Zealanders in a timely manner for a major emergency.
Yeah. So what would be the dream portfolio, Nikki? Is there anything out there that you look at and you really hope to be in that role one day?
Well, look, I feel very grateful for having such varied experience. So some people get pigeonholed. I've pretty much had an involvement in the portfolios right across government. I think part of the advantage that I love about ACC is I get to do both the economic stuff and the social stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't really think I'm in a position yet to know that, but I definitely am loving ACC.
Yeah, okay. And you're obviously a remarkably, careful minister in the way that you go about your work and don't seem to be up to anything dodgy as potentially some of the others are being called out for. So from that experience, obviously you are careful. So what are some of the lessons you've learned in politics so far?
Well, I think have really good people around you, and that's generally life. But particularly in politics, those people represent you. Secondly, stay true to who you are. So know when you're going to be able to compromise, but then also know when you're going to have the courage to stand up, whether it's at the cabinet table or in the public, and say, no, I think we should go this way. One of the best pieces of advice the minister gave me was, I'm the person at the table that represents the public, and you have to be able to be happy with the decisions that you make.
Yeah.
So, have courage, have integrity, work hard, but then, stay true to who you are.
Yeah, and are there any mistakes that you feel that you've made, that you've learned from, that you won't be making again, sort of thing?
I think there have been times when it has taken longer, right? And I've learnt more about the system and how to get things done faster.
Okay.
That's definitely happened. I've been frustrated at times because I want to go at a faster pace.
Okay.
But also I think just understanding, really investing in some of those people around you, that really matters.
Yeah, so growing the team as well.
That's right.
Yourself.
That's right, because if you are trying to do everything, particularly the amount of reading that I get a night, plus, all of the correspondence that comes through, if you're trying to do everything, then you can't be making the big decisions.
Yeah. Okay, and what would your advice be to a young person who has a dream of getting into politics one day?
I think the main thing is, I don't believe it matters what age you stand. I mean, we've got in our cabinet an extraordinarily diverse range of people. But what I do think matters is that you know who you are. Because you can't possibly expect people to believe in you and back the decisions you make, I think, if you're not clear about who you are and what you want to do and what you stand for.
Okay.
And some of the politicians that I've admired on the other side of the house, I don't agree with everything that they're fighting for, but I admire them that they came into Parliament and said they were going to do this in their maiden speech, and in their valedictory they have achieved it.
Okay, but is age not, you're obviously relatively young, but you still had quite substantial life experience from your time over in Europe and so on, but do you think that, at the moment, obviously, one of the new MPs and National, I think he's 24, is that playing with the country's future a bit much, do you think?
No, I truly believe that you want a House of Representatives, actually, and that it's important to have young people in Parliament. The main thing is they know who they are, and Todd is a great example of a young man who has a very clear set of values, and he'll make an extraordinary contribution. Okay,
I suppose that youth aspect might be quite important sometimes on certain issues.
Well, absolutely, because you have a different perspective, I think, at different phases in your life. There's a little bit more, I reckon, as a younger politician, you can be more gung-ho sometimes and stand up and say things that maybe some of the older ones who've had a few scars wouldn't say. And so you really want a House of Representatives. Okay, I'll flip that around a wee bit. Could the party be doing more then in that case, do you think, to be introducing new young people to help ensure the future growth and, I reckon we've got a pretty good record in this area. You look at Nick Smith, Bill English, Tony Ryle, Simon Upton, me, Todd, Jamie Lee Ross. We've always had a proud history of people standing quite young, right? Yeah. Mixed with that experience. I think we've got a great group of young Nats coming through. I've never seen the party in such good heart, actually. Okay. And what about your advice once someone's in politics? What would you say to the Nikki Kaye on her first day back in Parliament? I would say, listen a lot and stay true to yourself. Okay. And that's what I think I got better at listening. Yeah, it's a hard skill, isn't it, sometimes? I think I got better at listening, but I think I've always stayed true to myself. Never worry about that. Okay, and
you've obviously, yes, in terms of staying true to yourself, you obviously have absolutely done that. Obviously, Great Barrier mining is one example of that.
Yeah.
Has that been something that, for you personally, you sometimes sort of went through your head, maybe I shouldn't be doing this because it may upset others in the party or anything like that, or is it something that you?
I think you've got to pick your battles, but there have got to be some bottom lines, and you've got to know what they are. And I think I'm confident enough in myself and who I am, and the fact that I want to live my life being true to myself, that I'm not just in Parliament to be a seat warmer, and that if there comes a point where I really felt it would compromise who I am, I wouldn't be there.
Okay, but do you sometimes feel like, I guess, within your own portfolios you're making lots of decisions and stuff, but within other areas, are there decisions that get made that you don't agree with, but because you're within a party, you do just shut up sometimes, where maybe you should?
I can honestly say to you that on issues that I felt there's been a diversity of views and where we've disagreed, either we've worked them through or they've been conscience issues. And that's one thing I'm really proud about our party, is that we have the ability to vote freely on conscience issues. Take gay marriage, basically marriage equality.
Yeah.
That was something I felt very strongly about, and it was a conscience issue in my party.
Okay, it is refreshing, isn't it, to see people actually standing up for what they believe in, because some of the people have been there, I guess, for far too long, and some people's opinions maybe don't stand up for things, so it is good.
Yeah, I think I would say, those people that do pretty well, that's my experience. You might not agree with them, but they're pretty sure about what they want to do.
Okay, and you yourself have obviously worked remarkably hard in terms of getting into Auckland Central in the first place, but once you've been in Parliament, obviously respecting the constituency battles and so on. And as I think the numbers I have here is around about, I think it was around 11,000 cases you dealt with between 2008 and 2012, knocking on about 10,000 doors, both elections to actually get in. So as a guy we interviewed the other day, Sir Ian Edgar says, the harder you work, the luckier you get. Have you found that for yourself?
Absolutely. Look, so in 3 elections, 10,000 doors twice, 9,500 last time, but doing it with 5 ministerial portfolios. The challenge to be a really good constituency MP and manage that ministerial stuff has been quite hard. But what I would say to you is, I believe that we are one of the greatest countries in the world, and that we can be accessible as politicians, and you can actually do that door knocking, and you can meet people, and you can affect the everyday decisions of their life, and that's how I will continue as long as I'm the MP for Auckland Central.
And when looking at your own career development, I guess on the list going from 57 to 33 to 19 now, it's definitely a step in the right direction. So what do you put that down to if you had to sum it up into a few sentences?
Again, working hard, having integrity. I think probably as well developing, so understanding, the whole listening thing, understanding where I can work better with other colleagues.
Yeah.
So it is that progression that people can see that you're moving through, and then delivering. That's
the most important thing.
That's right.
Yeah. And obviously you yourself as well, you've done the coast to coast several times, 2008, 2013 as well. So you're the first cabinet minister to do that. So how do you balance the grueling life of politics versus?
I think I'm the first cabinet minister to complete I think Nick and Bill did a team event. Look, I did that just before I became a cabinet minister, so I was an MP, but it was tough.
Yeah.
It was grueling, and I remember coming through the leg in terms of Christchurch and thinking, why the hell did I do this? But again, it's about resilience.
Yeah.
And if you want something bad enough, and for me it was about a bit of a personal test of character as well. And I've always found those times where you put yourself up against the wall, there is a growth that happens from it. It's hard, it's tough, but I love my sport, but I also love the learnings that come from it.
Okay, and I guess after that coast to coast, is it something you do now, setting yourself new personal challenges outside of work to help come up against that wall in other ways? Is that something you're always working on?
Yep, I got a kitten a couple of days ago.
Fantastic.
Well, I won't pick her up till the end of January, but trying to manage the personal with the with obviously political life, and that's part of me. I want to be able to have that.
Yeah.
And so how do you manage that?
Yeah. Are you going to call it John?
No, I'm not. I haven't not decided on a name. They're at my office, have lots of thoughts about that.
Yeah.
She's pretty gorgeous.
Okay, and you yourself, I mean, what's your dreams still to come?
Oh, I've got a lot of dreams. I think I hope next year to deliver a pretty clear government strategy around technology in schools and how we're going to have greater access to content and development and equity of access across New Zealand, particularly for more disadvantaged students. I want to make sure we're much better in treating the most vulnerable in ACC.
Yep.
At a youth level, I think we could literally double the number of leadership mentoring places that we have and volunteering places for young people in New Zealand.
Okay.
And we need to be less relaxed about that.
Yep.
At a civil defence level, I want to ensure we deliver a public alerting system.
Okay.
So, and then just generally, my dreams, I'm going to be a good mum to this kitten.
Yeah.
I hope to get fit again.
Yeah.
I'd love to do a half Ironman in the next 18 months.
Okay.
But I'm not a very good swimmer, so...
Yeah, some training to be done there.
There's a lot of training to be done.
Yeah, and John Kaye made a statement soon after he became Prime Minister in 2008. He said, in his opinion, every MP aspires to become Prime Minister, otherwise they wouldn't be there. Do you agree with that?
He would know in that just being the PM, he has those kind of personal conversations. I think what I'd say is, I think there's a pretty healthy level of ego in the building.
Yeah, so is that a goal of yours one day?
It's not something I at all, it's not a goal. Basically what I've said is I will stick around in politics as long as I'm making a significant difference. I think I'd only stick around long term if I could be in the top 5. It doesn't mean being Prime Minister, because for me it's about how do you make the greatest amount of difference. And I look at someone like Bill, and I look at Stephen and Jerry, and each of them have made an extraordinary contribution. I certainly would not stick around in politics if I wasn't continually probably stepping up.
Okay.
But I don't believe you need to do the top job to make a massive contribution.
Okay, so just on that point, are there things outside of politics in your own personal career that you look at and think that maybe if I'm not in politics in 10 years, I'd actually like to get back into that or get into that? Or...
Yeah, I mean, I can see after politics that I'm always going to want to help people.
Yeah.
That's basically what I want to dedicate my life to do. So I think probably charitable.
Okay, fantastic.
And probably international.
Okay.
I've partly had my eyes sort of wide open or open further as a result of just some travel at a ministerial level, and I can see the need across the world, both in terms of education, but also in food production.
Yeah, cool. So we've just got a few quick fire questions to finish off.
Yep.
If you had to make a call on who's going to potentially follow John Kaye into the role when his time does come one day, what would you say?
The leader of the National Party.
So there's no one who you're looking at thinking that you'd make a call on anyone? Or? I mean, there's obviously lots of talent there.
Yeah, I guess that's the difficulty, isn't it? I mean, I think there are a few people the PM have signalled, Amy Adams and Simon Bridges, in terms of that front bench leadership.
Okay.
But I reckon he is probably one of the greatest Prime Ministers we've had, and it's going to be very hard for anyone to follow in his footsteps.
Yeah, so. big shoes to fill, eh?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so over on the left side of the house, if you had to single out one or two people who you admire the most, who'd you say?
Kevin Haig from the Green Party. I really rate Kevin. I think he's got integrity and he works hard. In terms of the Labour Party, Nikki Kaye is someone I rate massively. I think she as well is very reasonable. A lot of the time I've worked with her on a number of local constituency things and she's been really good. Yeah,
and likewise in your own party, any sort of up-and-comers, or maybe not even up-and-comers, maybe people at the top who you just have absolute total respect for?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that I sort of feel each of the, if you look at the cabinet, there's lots of people in the cabinet that I admire in different ways. So Nikki Kaye is a person that I admire because I believe that she will she may not walk out of the building the most popular, but she will have done the most amazing things in the education portfolio in terms of change and difference. Bill English, his career has been long, and it's lovely to see him making such an extraordinary contribution in the economic area. The PM has an incredible combination of heart and mind. So he not only has delivered the big stuff, but I think he genuinely touches people's lives when they meet him, and there's a connection that he has with people that we would struggle to replicate in a Prime Minister in our lifetime.
Okay, and if you had to sum up, just before we finish off, your sort of top 3 bits of advice for people wanting to get into politics, from your experience, what would you say?
You've got to be able to work really, really, really hard, like lots of long hours. You've got to absolutely stay true to yourself and be clear about who you are. And you've got to have a plan. It's a privilege to be a member of Parliament. You've got a certain amount of time, and you've got to be able to really articulate what it is you want to do for New Zealand.
So you're working pretty crazy hours from morning to night. What's the sort of schedule like?
Yeah, I mean it'll be it'll probably be 8 till 11 or PM. Most days, because when the House is sitting, absolutely, and then when I'm in Auckland, usually there'll be several functions a night, and that'll probably be 5 or 6 days a week.
Yeah. Okay. And what would the 16-year-old Nikki Kaye think of who you've become today?
I think she'd be pretty happy. I feel I can't think of anything that I massively, that I regret. I feel I've lived my life like there isn't really a tomorrow.
Okay.
And I'm really proud of what I've achieved, and I'm really proud of my family, and I love my family.
Yeah, fantastic. So, I mean, you're an incredible person with a big future ahead. So to finish off, can you please look down this camera here and tell us, what are your wise words for the people of New Zealand?
We have a wonderful, great country, and I think over the next 20 years, some of our opportunities are investing more in education and valuing education as a country. We can step up another level in terms of our quality of life if we do that. Secondly, I think we need to continue to have a fair society. That means being relentless about helping our most disadvantaged, and education is an area where we need to do that. And thirdly, I think we need to constantly reflect on what we've got. We've got beautiful natural assets in our people in terms of being culturally diverse, but also in our landscapes, and sometimes we need to step back and just acknowledge what a wonderful country we are.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks.